Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Wildmender video. Today we're going to take a look at the heart of the game, Oasis building. I'll be going over ground shaping, water and how it behaves and how to get more of it, and the different plants and how they react to differing environments, as well as how to utilize some of the building pieces like compost bin and the windmill. As usual, I'll do this in sections, so with that said, let's dive in. I'm going to start with ground shaping first. That is your base, and it's easier to get it shaped out before you start planting. Plus, those plants are going to need some water, and it's better for them to have it close by rather than you trying to run around and water each one by hand. So if you played the game before, you know you start out with a small pool of water and not much else other than a couple of plants. You could go ahead to try and map out a portion of your canals during this tutorial stage, but as I said, you don't have much water, so don't expect it to go very far. Not to mention, you'll also have the base shovel at this time, which will make the project even more time consuming. During the tutorial, time is frozen, so you won't be getting any. That's a weird place to pause. During the tutorial, time is frozen, so you won't be getting hungry or thirsty. But real life time is afforded no such luxury, so it's up to you if you want to spend the time doing that or not. I prefer to work on upgrading my tools before committing to shaping out my canals. Instead, I would work on digging the small spring a few shovel scoops deeper than it starts at. I like to get it about the depth I want my canals to be to ensure an even water flow throughout the whole oasis, with some exceptions. Perfectionists are gonna have a heck of a time with this if you like a more clean cut look. But it can be done if you're persistent enough. Upgrading your shovel helps quite a bit. Even just one upgrade will help, but the obsidian upgrade is where you'll really tell the difference. However, keep in mind that once you upgrade, you'll notice that when you're leveling out your ground, it will level a wider area, thus making your canals wider as well by default. If you don't want them that wide, you'll have to do a little corrective sculpting along the banks. You aren't required to upgrade your tools if you don't want to, so it's whatever you prefer. You do you, boo. I generally like to keep a level area to start with, and then dig or raise from there, ensuring I get an even water spread along the ground on either side of the canals once water flows through them. If you really want to get creative, try making some cliffs or steps, or just generally playing around with raising and lowering the ground to see what you can come up with to make your oasis even more interesting to look at. It really helps to have the chisel when doing this. It's a gift from Gleb, so you'll need to progress far enough to free them to get your hands on it. In your memory tree, you have a couple skills that'll allow you to increase the water flow. Once unblocked, you can increase the water a number of times before needing the next upgrade. You'll also get a couple more water expansions after healing the tree after freeing each god. You can also create well stones to place along your canals to add more water and increase the reach further out from the main tree. You're able to make quite a few of these things, so you can cover a fairly sizable area. When you place one, that'll increase the distance you can place another, sort of daisy chaining them around in whichever way you feel. A little note on well stones, it may be a good idea to place them a little higher up than your water level. I've noticed that they generate water under them, thus if they are the same level as your canal, you won't be able to actually access that water. Better to place them a bit higher up. I usually do it about ground level. Like most of the items and plants in your oasis, you can move them, so if you don't like where it is, feel free to move it to a better place. A few more things about water to keep in mind are 1, that the sun will evaporate some of it, leading to less water during the day unless you have trees shading it. And 2, plants take up varying amounts of water, so it can also contribute to your water levels. A trick to limiting evaporation is to focus on digging your canals a little deeper and not so wide, at least until you have more water to play around with. Water? My god. Water. Until you have more water to play around with. Sorry, it's that southern coming out. I can't help it. If you find that you have too much water and it's beginning to drown your plants, you do have the option to limit water flow or make your canals deeper or wider to compensate. You'll figure out early on that dune grass will make the soil arable wherever it's planted. It's a good idea to place these along your canals within the moist dirt. Some plants can be planted in poor desert soil, but others need at least arable land to be planted. Sunburst will also create arable soil. Just remember that wherever they are, they will create a little bit of shade. Speaking of shade, some plants do prefer that, so it's good to have some shaded areas and some with direct sunlight. They'll grow either way, but produce better when they have all their peak criteria met. Trees obviously will be providing the shade, just try not to plant them too close together. I mean, you can if you're going for a specific look, but their roots travel pretty far and may make the Oasis navigation a little more troublesome. They are great physical barriers for your less hardy plants though, protecting them from everyday tumbleweeds and dust devils to a full-blown sandstorm. So consider planting some along the borders of your oasis to help with that. If you check the plants section in the journal, you'll get all the information you need for your plants, including its cultivars and properties. It's good to take a glance at this to place your plants in their best possible locations and will come in handy when you're ready to make hybrid seeds. The plants themselves do come in different varieties naturally. Your common, ancient, wild, and tainted cultivars can be found throughout the map. Meadow, marsh, grove, and alpine take a little more intervention on your part. Either plant common varieties within the area of influence to one of the mother trees to convert it, or gather them from other oases that you've used the life flame on. You can also move plants between the mother biomes and they will change to suit that area as long as they aren't ancient, wild, tainted, or giant. Now, hybrid plants are a little different. You can either create them by planting different variants of the same plant close together and you may end up with a hybrid, or with the life shaping skill you can do this manually by having the seed of one variant in your inventory and interacting with the plant of another. It's mostly going to be guesswork and randomly finding out, as there really isn't information on how to create these in game, unless you have a side task given to you by one of the grave ghosts to create a particular one. It'll tell you which variants to combine to get the wanted result, which is another reason to plant all the variants you find. You'll need them for those hybrids. You'll need to do some exploring to find them all, as some cultivars can only be found in certain locations, like the giant thorntail can only be found in the dunes. You can deck out your oasis with more than just plants, walls, bridges, pathways, and lights to name a few. Once you put them down, some of them have different aesthetics that can be changed once you check them out. There are a few buildable items that have functions as well. The windmill can be used to ferry water from one place to another. To get these to work, you'll need to place a windmill every 5th pipe in order to draw the water. I've set one up to draw water from the base pool and dump it back up top to have sort of a perpetual waterfall. It's not perfect, but I'm sure someone with a better design sense could make this work better. Sigils are great to help with your oasis, ranging from protection from the elements to boosting their growth and even providing some offense should your home be attacked by any ne'er-do-wells. There's even one that will water your nearby plants with the power of essence, evanescence, so you won't have to worry about hand watering them anymore. Statues can serve as decorative purposes, but also have some special abilities once you progress far enough to meet and complete the Oros arc. Walls also serve a dual purpose in that they can be decorative and provide some protection to nearby plants that they're sheltering. I usually use these to barricade any seedlings from tumbleweeds and those dust twister things. You also have a compost bin that'll turn any spoiled plants into fertilizer. Add bones and plant fibers into the mix to get more out of it. Unlike most games, fertilizer here is used to refresh any of your older plants that have the tired or exhausted status, prolonging their growing life. The bee statues will repair any nearby structures, and the soldier bee variety will help a bit with defense by stunning any wraiths within its vicinity. They also produce honey, which can be used to create more bee statues or make festival cakes. These aren't all the structures, but the ones I found most directly useful to your oasis. Try to spread your mother trees out a fair distance. They have a habit of encroaching on each other's territory. You really only need one of each kind unless you're doing a gigantic oasis. Get a frog, better yet, get 2. They'll gather any loose items around the oasis like seeds and wood, and even items dropped by enemies to keep them stored until you clear out their inventory. And you can find these little guys in the salt plains. Just make sure you have water. Don't be afraid to plant tainted seeds. They won't taint anything around them and can be untainted if you so choose. They'll also grant you secret passes as well. Don't worry about messing up. You can always move your plants around after they're planted, and with the pearl bracelet trinket, you'll even be able to move large trees. If you don't like the way your canals are situated, you can always level them out and restructure them however you want. It's like a haircut. If you don't like it, it'll grow out. As I mentioned before, once you have the root sigil, feel free to plant in drier areas. This sigil will take care of the watering for you, provided it does have access to essence. I also would recommend building some flame sigils to help with home defense. Even if you have wraith attacks turned off, the boss battle will happen at your oasis, and they are helpful. Same goes for any other offensive construction. Go nuts! Build whatever you want, build however you want. If you think something's cool, try it out. If you don't like it, it can always be undone. And that's pretty much it. Oasis building isn't super technical, but it can be time consuming. And that's fine to me, because it's the part I love the most about the game. And I think anyone who's into plants or gardening, landscaping, or cool water mechanics will enjoy it as well. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your viewership and I hope you liked the video and found it helpful. If you have any questions, tips, thoughts, or anything, please feel free to leave a comment. If you liked the video, let me know by liking it. And if you didn't, dislike it. If you want to see more, consider subscribing. Consider subscribing. I'm still fairly new to this scene, so feedback and engagement is important. However, just watching the video is the biggest help of all. Again, thank you, and have a great day. Ensuring I get an even water spread along the ground on either side of the What's a canal? That's a canal. In your memory, ooh. A trick to limiting, so you won't have to worry about hand watering them anymore. I don't know what happened there. Walls also serve a dual purpose, and my God, why can't I say this? I usually use these to barricade any seedlings. Yeehaw! Shotgun, beer, big truck. I usually use these to barricade. Why is it so hard to say barricade? The bee statues will repair any nearby structures, and the soldier bee variety will help a bit with defense by distending. Y'all, I'm dumb. I can't read. The bee statues will repair any nearby structures, and the soldier bee variety will help a bit with defense by stunning any wraiths within it. Say wraiths within. Wraiths within. Why did I write that? I set myself up with that. God, past me hates future me, I'm telling you right now. Or this is present me. Damn, I'm dumb. Never mind. Anyway. And with each Jesus. I cannot read. I'm like putting in words that I did not even write. There's something wrong with my eyeballs. I'm seeing stuff that ain't there. Oh, God. I think it's about time to take me out back like Old Yeller. My God. Or cool what I prefer to start? No. I can't even read what the hell I wrote apparently. And I typed this out.